Hand clap to the master, guys. We are finally back again for another reaction on the one and only Mystelics reaction channel, guys. Big up all the Mystelics YouTube family, man. Big up yourself for definitely tuning into another reaction video. And of course, guys, give this video a thumbs up. Of course, that giving the thumbs up to this here video will help the YouTube algorithm to push your videos further and further. So click the thumbs up button, guys. It doesn't take much. It's free. Click the thumbs up button, bing, and that's it, man. Of course, I would appreciate that you also check out the full video in this regard. And of course, to all the newcomers out there, big up yourself as well. We have not forgotten you guys. Thanks for tuning in to this here reaction video. Of course, this is where I get my views on a number of things pertaining to that of the Dominica diaspora and Caribbean diaspora as well. So you can definitely tune in and subscribe. Click the bell and then click all, so you'll be pretty much notified when I drop my videos right there and then, guys. This is rather interesting what is taking place in this here video. You might be wondering, what on earth is going on, brothers and sisters? This is potatoes. This is provisions, brothers and sisters. Provisions. The provisions are actually what they consider to be very expensive right now. This is why one of the things that I'm trying to tell individuals right there, the world is getting an interesting way where you need to try to, you know, do your own farming and stuff. Do your own farming. I myself, I'm growing some fruits and stuff. I might need to get into potatoes, man. If potatoes are expensive, might as well get into it and sell them cheaper than this. Because this is kind of crazy. $13 in Astafans for a pound, I guess, a pound or two of potatoes. That is crazy right there. I remember back in the day, potatoes was like $4 or $5. Six for $6. My photographic memory is what thing. And there's $6 for $6 for potatoes back in the day. Now it's $14, man. $14. So the provisions and everything are seeming to go up, except one thing that is not going up: your salary. Your salary is not going up, guys. So you have to try your best to do a second job, and trying to do a second job in Dominica is kind of a crazy task to do, because if you can find one, Marquis, I think the second one will have to be NEP. You might have to be working in the bank and working NEP to try to make ends meet and what have you, because them kind of prices there is kind of crazy. Not only does the potatoes have stuff as well, it's the Creole season. Now I understand in Creole season, you know, people are the demand for it. There's always the demand and supply. So you know the demand for this thing is definitely, but the supply of it is not limited. Why is it that expensive? $13.61, man. Now guys, I'm not sure how expensive, but I'm trying to remember based off auditory, man. I'm trying to remember what the lady was saying. I think it was $6. I think it was $6. I can't be wrong, but we have never paid for breadfruit. We just go and get breadfruit. People bring breadfruit for us, and you know, if it's that expensive now, people have to buy breadfruit from their neighbor. That's crazy. You take $13.61 for breadfruit, guys. That is something else right there. And of course, Astafans has it going crazy for that price. I'm sure they didn't get it at that amount, but hey, they probably want to mark up the prices. I know that didn't come from overseas for sure, but it seems like things that come from overseas are cheaper than the things being grown in Dominica. For example, water. We have cheaper foreign water than the local water itself. And you would think if it's coming from overseas, it's imported, it'll be more expensive. Import duties, no. It's far cheaper than Dominica water, which is kind of crazy. And this, of course, I will not advocate people going and get no breadfruit in Astafan. Fire, burn that. There are trees all over the place, man. You can go and pick. Once it's not somebody's yard, you go and pick the thing. There are trees all over the place, man. You're a citizen of the place. If you see a breadfruit tree on government land, go and pick it. Go and pick it, brethren. That is your fruits, after all. That is kind of crazy right there. Now we are cabbage, brothers and sisters. You think cabbage would be cheaper than the rest? Cabbage? Who that cabbage what? Cabbage bush, brothers and sisters. The bush more expensive than the provision themselves. That is something else, boy. But that is something else, boy. The cabbage more expensive than the breadfruit. Bush compact together is more expensive than the breadfruits and the potatoes that will fill you up more. You go and eat bush. You decide, boy, I'm hungry for some bush. You still hungry after eating the cabbage. And you still carry the full cabbage because you know you carry that part of the cabbage. That is something else, man. That is something special right there. 10.06 for a pound of bush. Well, is that the people want it? Give the people what they want. If it's that they want, give them what they want. Because don't see much people complaining about them kind of prices there. What? No. Give me organic guava tree bush instead. I'll boil guava tree bush, make some tea. Of course. You will never catch me. Yeah, you will not catch me. If you catch me buying that, you good. If you want to catch me buying that, hit me a top, man. Trip me, beat it. If you were to catch me buying them kind of things there. No, man. They're exaggerating the prices, man. That's kind of insane. Insanity that day. But hey, they say don't complain, so the people are not supposed to complain at all. Don't complain, people. Don't complain. Alright then. Anyways, guys, talking about complaining. Some of you probably saw this already, but this was sent to me a number of times. This is what actually changed my well, there were these things and then this. I had to do something completely different in regards to the Prime Minister, but we'll do that some other time, brothers and sisters. Let us take a listen to this right there. Hopefully there's not much cuss word inside there. You know, sometimes things will get so bad that a few cuss word might have slip out in your mother, this and that, man. Let us hope no cuss word come out there. I'll have to edit it out. Let go.
Telling you, it have a lot of young people that suffering silently, my brother.
Let's go back. What she say?
Telling you, it have a lot of young people that suffering silently, my brother.
Yes. We know. Especially in these modern times where people don't want to make you seem as if they're struggling, so they put on a facade. They put on fake. They make fake. They are fake Louis V phones covers. You know yourself. They make a facade. They put on a facade, and of course, the young people are, you know, pretending to be something that they're not.
I myself have a business, and I telling you straight up, it's rough in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
It's very rough. The amount of businesses that closed down, and I've done this before. A lot of businesses have closed down since the Prime Minister there took place, yet still they are the ones getting richer. It's interesting. In an economy that is not doing well, where people are losing businesses, where the youth are struggling to try to get out of Dominica, that is the only way. And when they get out and they finally out there, they work hard. I know in certain places they are literally calling for Dominicans because they know once Dominicans go out, once Dominicans come into the country, they know Dominicans going to work extremely hard so that they do not go back to Dominica. They're working hard. They're wowing their bosses. They're doing all sorts of things so they can ensure that they have a place in that business overseas. That's one of the reasons why Dominicans do well overseas, because they know the struggle, and the kind of monies that they get overseas is another thing. This is why I don't understand why, if you're a youth in the country, you're supposed to leave. Dominica is not a place for the youth. Dominica is a place for you to come and retire. But then again, looking at the healthcare system, you'll have to rethink that too. Because if you old and you retire and you say you come in Dominica, hopefully you have a helicopter to take you out. Because the very Prime Minister say he can fly himself out if he needs medical attention. He can fly his children out. He can fly his family out. Then ask the question, what about you? Even though he's in charge. Boy, what about you? Even though you are the people that vote him in. He's asking you, what about you? He say, I know for myself. What about you? That is what the Prime Minister has asked individuals out there. So even if you want to say, because the healthcare facilities in Dominica is not doing well, it's not doing well by the grace of God. I remember a thing that I shared yesterday, talking about the diaspora coming in asking, but how are you making it then? Well, by the grace of the Most High alone. And the Most High plant trees about, and a number of persons who can't get jobs, and that is what they're trying to do, trying to sell things to different restaurants and certain things like that, different fruits that they have cultivated in their backyard, and selling to their neighbors and so forth and so forth. So thank God, thank God for that very blessing that He has bestowed upon Dominica, the beautiful nature isle of the Caribbean. Yet still we have people running it down to the ground. I mentioned yesterday about the whole Mary Jane situation. I mentioned yesterday about that. The whole Mary Jane situation. And for those of you, Mary Jane, like marijuana, Mary Jane. Some people call it Mary Jane, some people call it marijuana. Marijuana is the official name, but you know, just for you YouTube vibes, Mary Jane. Mention that same thing that can actually elevate. There was an individual who made a comment on my thing stating that back in 2018 it was a non-issue. I found that commenter to be very ignorant and foolish. Brothers and sisters, you know I don't cap my mouth. When you're talking foolishness under my videos, you are ignorant and that makes you a fool. Talking about it wasn't an issue back in the day. So now that the Prime Minister sees that it's now becoming an issue, you mean to tell me that back in the day, in 2018, it created about $10.4 billion industry. It has grown to hundreds of billions of dollars right now. But in the basis of that understanding right there, the Prime Minister them doesn't seem to seek the betterment for the people. They seem to seek a betterment for themselves. And as a result of what they failed to do back then, they are not trying to do it now. We now have to start now, instead of starting back in 2019 when the proposals of all the different individuals came to Dominica and tried to push for that business after Lennox Linton went to Colorado to find out about the hemp cultivation and what have you. This is what is happening in the nature of the Caribbean. This. So when the diaspora come down and say, but how do you make it there? Tell them by the grace of God. And our foolishness too. Tell them by our foolishness and by the grace of God, because our foolishness are keeping us there. But let us continue.
Yeah, I telling you, it's rough in the Commonwealth of Dominica. My brother, light bill go up, water go up.
Wow. Okay, well that, guys, I have to definitely edit that one out.
And what you have to do, you making the same, maybe the same money every time, and the same thing, you have to move the same ends. Because sometimes if you don't have a man, woman must make bomb in Dominica.
Wow, okay, wow, all right then. Guys, we have some editing to do there. If I miss one, don't blame me, please. We're trying to make this thing as friendly to everybody across the board. And I think we have been succeeding so far. A few might slip up here and there, but guys, yes.
But somebody want to tell me, no, but I don't call him no woman salad when you say I see woman going and do their business, no boy.
I understand the sentiment to that point. Just like when people tend to go for guns and this kind of things there, especially in New York. I understand that sentiment. Or you feel like there's no way out, and you feel like the very system is against you. Push comes to shove. I'm not an advocate for it. I understand it. Is it right? No, it's definitely not right. But when man is trying to leave and make things up, but it's interesting that the individuals are doing this amongst themselves. They're not going to the very people who are trying to keep them down. They are listening to the oppressors saying, oh, it's the people around you that are doing things. And then the people go and attack each other. They're not looking for the oppressor, they're looking for the people around them. So I understand this sentiment, survival of the fittest. Is it right? No, it's not right. But when push comes to shove, this kind of things take place. This is why the world is in the kind of chaos it is. Because everybody wants some sort of money or some sort of, security to the point where they can say, okay, I can finally do this and I can finally do that. This is why marriage itself is going down the drain, because people checking, but why are you getting married for? I then have to take care of people. I don't have money to take care of myself. This is why when people leave, you find more people who leave Dominica, they tend to get married. And not just for green card, but, I'm talking about other Dominicans as well. Dominicans marry other Dominicans. They tend to get married because it's a more suitable relaxation where they are able to get more money to then create families and this kind of things there. Because the economy is conducive for this. Anyways, guys, let me continue.
But that way is a plenty of women getting up, labor, workers, whatever the hell in there.
No, if you're a woman and you decide to go and bake your bombs and what have you, and you still well, that is your dirty ways. That is your dirty ways. I mean, if you're trying to get out of the system and then, no, guys, don't get me. Sometimes people like to construe what I'm saying. I'm not saying go and make bomb. No, that is not the case for you to do. Go and sell yourself and just for nothing. And when you see, like, look at what the people who the adult filmmakers. If you listen to some of their podcasts right now, they are regretting their decisions. They're regretting decisions. They make a lot of money. They make all kind of things in that and in the adult industry and what have you guys. But right now they're regretting their decisions because it's affecting their dating life. Some of them who happen to get married, brothers and sisters, are now divorced. It didn't take long for them to get divorced because they cannot peer bond with the person. And it's a hell of a thing when it comes onto this situation. So don't get me wrong and think I say, no, God, make your bombs. No! Do not do this at all. At all, at all, at all. But the problem I have here is if you then hail into your oppressors and happy that your oppressors are there oppressing you, and then you check in, boy, had nothing else to do, you had 100% at fault. 100% at fault. So take what you get. But there are consequences to every action. I think people always forget these things. Consequences to every action. You decide you want your hot girl summer or whatever they call it, not there. You want to go there and viva la vida loca. You want to go crazy. You want to live like crazy. But there are always consequences to your actions. Anyways, and fellas too, if you waste your time saying, well, let me go and drink some, let me make my belly come big, drinking beer and relaxing and don't making yourself or building yourself, nothing like this, you too are at fault. At fault. I always tell young people, get out of Dominica. I know I say that, you know. I know I say that. But don't listen to me still.
And tomorrow morning, they have to go and ask a man for a Kool-Aid and a bread to give their children. Right? You think it easy in that Commonwealth of Dominica? You think it easy? When you have to be telling me a Kool-Aid is $1.25, a bread is $1.25, if you make a little $10, where you go and survive in the weekday?
Well, you have to plant your fruits. You have to plant your vegetables, buddy. You have to plant. Dominica, thank God for Dominica. Dominica has created, God has created Dominica with the ability for it to produce from the soil. Which is why I don't understand, and I said it well. How can we be living in a land that in a land that flows with soil and water, sun, soil and water, and we're not producing from the land? We're looking to something else. Now we're trying to go back. 20 years of wasting time, 22 years of wasting time, 23 years, sorry, of wasting time. Now we're trying to go back to the very thing that we were doing back then. So we are 23 years behind time, and now we're trying to play catch up. While the rest of the Caribbean has gone forward. St. Lucia giving 2,000 boxes of bananas per week. Guyana is doing some magic items, some magic things they're doing, Trinidad itself trying to go on the upcome. St. Kitts, I myself, I can't complain about St. Kitts. St. Kitts doing their thing with the tourism industry and what have you. They're making themselves. And they're making sure that the people elevate themselves, are competent enough to do the jobs. It's not just coming and say, oh, I from St. Kitts and let me do it. No, you're competent enough to do the job. This is why a number of persons are in St. Kitts. All people, Jamaica, a lot of people all over the place are in St. Kitts. So, anyways, guys, I talk too much. Let me continue.
When you want to survive, right now people turn so greedy, they don't even give you figure dashing from their home again. They rather throw it in the garbage bin. And show you how selfish we come with one another.
Yep. Because they check in me, you decide you're not helping me, or why should I help you? And sometimes a lot of people looking for what they can get from people and not what they can actually give. I know I grew up like this, you know. I grew up like this, where people always constantly asking me for stuff. You give them, more you give them is the more they want, because they know you can give them, and it's just constantly, man. Nobody's saying, hey, let me buy your drink, let me buy your malt, let me buy your water now. It's only when people, it's only recently when people hear me sing and stuff, people checking they want to buy me something. I was telling them I want the water. It's like, hey, water, what? You think you drink alcohol like that? No, not so. No, you having me fire about that. Anyways, guys, my battery just died there, so let us continue right there.
People throwing food, I tell you them this day. They decide they don't even give in their neighbor, and you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. They don't even give in your neighbor food, no.
Well, even that, and I agree with what she's saying. You need to help out your neighbor, but when your neighbor feels like you're supposed to love me like yourself and not vice versa, then things can get a little construed in that region, and then you wonder why your neighbor not giving you, because you greedy. Your neighbor notice you's a greedy person, just want for yourself, and there are people like this. I know. That's
how rough it come in the community. People worry, people. Everybody for themselves in that place. Everybody for themselves on that place. Me not telling you that.
And that is what the prime ministers them are banking on. The disunity amongst the people. The disunity amongst the people, and they themselves can even help orchestrate it. I remember in La Plaine, where the individual's brother, they gave him a house. And they leave the brother without and tell the brother they gave the house not to make him come inside the house. So they let that brother stay out in the bush like a caveman, like a bushman. You need a cave. He living in the bush in the 21st century. So sometimes they themselves instigate it because they're trying to keep the people divided. That is what is happening, you know. Remember the story of the Tower of Babel? Even God himself had to divide the people because his people were so unified. He had to divide the people by changing the language. And as a result of changing the language, people couldn't understand each other and so forth, and then bow. The thing that they were building stopped. We must learn from history, you know, guys. Learn from history. And if, don't get me wrong, you always have people of different mindsets and whatnot. But if you are a kind of person who's trying to get people together and what have you, don't go for people who don't want to be together. Leave them alone by themselves. Go for the people who actually want to bring something and try to elevate the masses. I know I've met a number of these people, you know. The very reason why I'm on YouTube because of people. The very reason, because there are times I feel like, what is the point of me doing YouTube back in the day? I know I used to feel all that struggle and chicken. Boy, that don't make no sense, boy. What is going on? Keep on going. Keep on going. What you're doing is a nice vibe. Anyways, guys, let me continue.
Everybody. And I tell you straight, it have a lot of people. It have a lot of people. You have to just be careful.
True. I agree. This is why you don't just flock with anybody. That's why I always tell people, and I always tell the family and parents to let us, if you don't want, if your little one is not listening right now, bring your little one right now and let them understand this very thing. You know your friends not by what you do for them. You know your friends on what they try to do for you, even if you don't ask them to. That is how you know your friends. Your friends will always say, hey, there's an opportunity there. Let me see if I can help you out in that. Oh, I know I cannot do it myself, but I know somebody can do it. Let me mention that to my friend to see if my friend wants to do this. Your friend don't see the opportunity there and decide, hey, I'm not telling anything to none of my friends. Nothing like that. I'm not telling them the opportunity. Just so that my friends don't do better than me. If your friends are jealous of you, leave those people alone, ladies. I know you like all your little friends and whatnot. Some of all your women friends in all your circle that are not good for all you. They keeping all you down. They keeping all you away from marriages. They keeping away from good people because they themselves do not want to be alone. It is very understandable that way. But it's important not for you to say, I'm going to stay by myself. Everybody's that. No. Birds of a feather flock together, you know. And if you have the same mind, you will definitely get people to flock with you. I know this. I'm a living testimony of that. If I give all you my soul, you'll never believe. All you would never believe me. Me coming from a Dominica and the kind of things. Boy, tell you, boy. Anyways, sometimes you have to leave, Sometimes you have to leave for you to gain your elevation. And I know a number of persons who have left. I know people who have been poor in Dominica, trying their best, working hard, and then the government saying, boy, you lazy and whatnot. And they trying their best. And they finally get to leave. And some of them have bank. I'll just say that they have bank in the bank. Or they bank in the bank service their bank. That is the banking system I'm talking about right there. Because they understood the system and gain elevation through opportunities. When the government them in this country is killing our opportunities, what do you expect to happen? You don't expect no type of elevation to happen. Look at the very marijuana situation. You would have progressed on this in the CBI, anything failing, you would have put things in place, factories in place, and those kind of things there. Just in case it's CBI. The same thing Lennox Linton them was saying. Just in case they don't put nothing in place. They want to build house for people. Because they know the people cannot build a house for themselves. And if they build a house for the people will be loyal to them. And as a result, keep voting for them because they build a house. Not realizing these are the very people who build the house that keeping you down. That is a hell of a thing right there. But a lot of people don't think in that regard. They don't think, what is the cause and effect? I think we need to start thinking about the cause and effect of things. If we don't think of the cause and effect, then we'll just look at the effect and think that the effect is nice. The building house, yes, that is the effect you've seen. They building house for me. I get to stay in a house I could never do. But the reason why you could never do is because they kill the economy. That is not a difficult thing to understand. Anyways, let me continue right here.
You just have to just be careful because you don't know who is who and who's saying what and who don't saying what. You have a lot of hypocrites.
Yep.
And that's some people they just pull up there and they just quiet. They just quiet.
Observance.
It's not that I don't love my PM or I don't love what is his name?
Lennox.
Fella for workers. It has nothing to do with no love or whatever, whatnot. When right is right, you put right where right is.
That's my sentiment right there. I remember people talking about he had Skerrit had dimples, so they would was Skerrit, he's their husband, he cuter than Lennox, Lennox had big nose, all kind of foolishness that have nothing to do with how well somebody can run the economy. It's like basing your feelings over logic. I don't understand. You do not make a proper consented decision with feelings. I feel this way, so let me do this. No. People like to talk about gut feelings. It's not about gut feelings, it's about logic. And when your logic fails, you use your gut feelings. This is what then it happens. But when logic is present and you know what is taking place and you refuse to listen to logic, you listen to feelings. Oh, he young, he looking pretty. What kind of foolish stupidness. And these are the people that are making decisions to put people in power to keep the rest of people who thinking down. Interesting.
Sit down and take 1 week or go 2 weeks, go and look and sit down. And come back Dominica and spend that same 2 weeks and tell me which country you rather stay or go America and come and tell me Dominica not rough.
I have a friend, he normally listen to my videos. Back in the day, he used to give me all kind of problem because it's label this and label that. He never traveled. Today, he called me the other day and checking, boy, I don't know how Dominica, but if I didn't leave Dominica, I would never see these things that I'm seeing now. And he's saying he doesn't know how on earth. I remember talking to that boy, and the boy just used to say, nonsense, I'm talking. He even used to use some swear words as well. And the boy used to tell me, nonsense, I'm talking. No, he see when he leave. He has his family now. He has his family now. I never believed that man could have family. But he has his family now. I'm very happy for him. So, thank God for that. And the man said he don't know how he would have never seen it if he didn't leave. And I think that is what the government, them are banking on, people not leaving. So they constantly feel the pressure. Let me keep you without making money so you wouldn't travel. If you travel, your mindset might change. Because I travel the Caribbean this time, and I can tell you what is happening in Dominica is a travesty. And not to say that other countries don't have their problems. You know, they do have their problems. But when you're looking at Dominica versus the other countries, Macoisa, you have to ask yourself a question, But then you don't travel, so how can you ask yourself questions?
People want to say about everywhere rough. That's all everywhere don't know rough. Dominica rougher.
A lot of people are saying things are rough. Things are rough on the basis of what? If you were getting 100 things back in the day and now you are able to get 90 because of this situation, right? Now, in that particular country, you're getting 90. Things are a bit rough, true. But whereas in Dominica, where you could have gotten 100, you are getting 50. And not that you're getting 50, you are now getting 50 now. You are surviving, yes, where you should be able to be able to make 50, but no, you're not seeing that far less to make 100, which is your actual thing. You then saying, but things are rough everywhere. So let us continue not realizing the potential Dominica has for it to go forward. Dominica has massive potential. You don't see the mountains that there. You don't see the mountains and the vast lands that there. I say I have to do an aerial shot over Dominica Marquesa because it seems like people not seeing the agricultural basis that we can do. Planting. I listened to the very thing I was talking about, them using 1,000 acres for them to plant the hems, creating how much millions of dollars for Dominica. But no. Nope.
But everywhere rough. Everywhere don't know rough. Dominica rougher. Me that telling it to you, Dominica rougher. I just travel, I just go St. Martin, I just go everywhere. I know what I say. Dominica rougher. Is my passport that has a stamp on it. Dominica rough like rough cake.
Well, I'm going to
rough cake even to fight for Dominica.
Guys, this is pretty much all about us for this here reaction video. I sweat on that one because I can't understand how people not seen these things. You seen it right in your face. You watching my videos, you meeting in post mode and you arguing with what I saying, but you still putting back the very same thing there. Why is that? It's no longer about ignorance. Because the people know. You just have to be sure wicked, they're wicked. Because if you're arguing and you seen what I'm saying and you still choose to do the same thing, you're not only insane, you're wicked too. But anyways, guys, if you understand what I'm saying, give this video a thumbs up. Share this video as well, guys. I would appreciate that right there. Please share this video all over the place right there so more people can get to see it. Especially the content dealing with your friends. If your friends are bad, leave these people in their bad ways. Go and find new people so you can stay by yourself. Find new ones. And not just find new ones to help you. You help them. I think that is what the basis of our falter is as humanity. A lot of us look to see what we can get from other people. This is why some of my friends had to drop some of my friends, because I know they're looking only to see what they can get from me. They're not looking to apply anything. One of my friends said she praying for me. When I asked her, we were talking about our relationships, well, trying to get into relationships, and I was basing my thought process on how me and her deal. I know what, very, very young and this kind of things, so we grow up. That's why we still think. So I was talking to her on the way of our deal. What do you offer, guy? Or what do you offer? Let's say me and you in dynamics. What do you say? You motivate, you pray and motivate you. Thanks for the prayer. I appreciate that. But if there's opportunities out there and you don't realize it, you can say, okay, Mystelics, you can try this or you can try that. What do you think about doing this way? What do you think about doing that? You not offering no input. You only want me to give you input, and you only want to see different ideas from me and how I can help you on this kind of things. That is not a proper friendship. That is one-sided. And the same thing goes for relationships. A lot of people are getting into relationships to see what they can get. I always mingle within my friends. This is why, guys, if you see the caliber of friends I have, you would never believe it. I'm telling you, it's kind of weird. Because I don't go for the things. They are way more than me. Probably things I would not get in this life or the next. But one of the things, they're keeping me very close. Because I do not go for what they have. I given them insight. I say, okay, why don't you try to do this way? Or they tend to have conversation. I even posted on my WhatsApp with one of the individuals that's making $750,000 a month. I shouldn't even say all this. But in the basis, he was asking me different things about the very business and the thought process, because he likes my thought process on certain things. And that way he's able to think. So we talk about different things. I know the vibes in, even though I have $750,000 a month. He coming to me to ask you, you know. So you give them different vibes. Guys, it's important to not just think what you can get in a relationship, but what you can give. This is what it's all about. Friendship and these things is all about duty to each other. How you can benefit somebody, how they can benefit you. It should never be about what you can get from that person. Hey, I see that person have a talent and a skill set. Let me see if I can help that person, see what I can contribute to that person's life, and intend that person contribute to you. That is how it grows. That's how friendship grows. That's how relationship grows. That's how marriage themselves develop. When we think less of ourselves and more about the other people that we're in relationships with. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. If you understand what I'm saying, give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more, definitely subscribe and turn on that post notifications so you can get more videos as they tend to come through. Hopefully I get to do the video I was supposed to do today and tomorrow as well. I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Boom, bam.